Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 31 of Be With Me. We're outside today and we are in the book of Galatians. We're in an incredibly practical section of the book of Galatians. That is the final chapter, the last couple paragraphs. Just to get us up to speed, he's talking about through love, serve one another, things that we're supposed to be doing in the church, restoring the transgressor, bearing one another's burdens, all along testing ourselves and bearing our own loads as much as possible, sharing good things with the one who teaches, and obeying the principle and enjoying the principle of reaping what you sow. Today, we're going to talk about weariness, weary of goodness, weariness of doing good. And I think the reason that a person would tell you to don't grow weary of doing good is why. I think it's because we have a tendency of growing weary of doing good. So very practical. Here it is. This is from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, and especially to those who are in the household of faith. All right, so do not grow weary. And weary of what? Weary of doing good. Our apostle here, why would an apostle need to say this? Because we're human and we are apt to grow weary, and either because we are currently on the road to weariness, or this is something to keep in mind for the future. So what do we mean by weariness? It's to lose motivation in continuing to do a desirable pattern of conduct, that is doing good. Losing motivation in doing good, running out of gas, losing enthusiasm, being discouraged, losing heart, sort of giving up the ghost. Now, this assumes a couple of things. Number one, it assumes that you're already doing good. And it assumes that you're already doing good to the household of faith and to everybody. So the first charge hidden in this passage is to have something that you potentially could grow weary of. And if you don't have anything that you might grow weary of, let that be your first step. Secondly, it assumes that you are inside the household of faith, because it asks the question of, what are my duties? Which is to do good and to not grow weary in doing good, and to whom are those duties owed, which is to the household of faith. This assumes that we're still waiting for the final reward of the person who is sowing to the Spirit, but in due season you'll reap that. So there's a reward that Christians are going to get, but we're not quite there yet. So the idea is hang on and don't give up. So let's just get super practical, and here's what I think would be helpful to think about as we don't grow weary in doing goodness. So when he talks about, hey, don't grow weary, it's not like, oh, I've been doing good for 6 months or 6 years or 60 years, and by definition, I'm going to grow weary of it. No, he's saying we have some agency in this. It's not just longevity. It's not just difficulty. It's we have an agency. So let's use our agency so this problem, weariness, doesn't happen. So number one, I would say, would be to set your mind to this, to engage your mind, your goals, your purposes, to love and to serve and to bear one another's burdens. So get your head right about this already. Secondly, is to seek to be a net positive in church. Now, the whole thing with bear one another's burdens is you're supposed to bear other people's burdens. That's step A. Step B is they're supposed to bear your burdens. So there's a little bit of you scratch my back in the church, which is a great thing. I think overall, just setting your mind to being of service, being good to the church, being a net asset, being a joy to your pastor. We talked about that yesterday. All right, number 3 is expose yourself to those who are not weary. And this, I think, just blesses and elevates the young people in the church as usual. because they are full of enthusiasm and it's just contagious. So I think that's a practical thing. Number 4 is be in a place that lays down an expectation. That is a teaching, a regular teaching, an expectation, probably from the pulpit, of service, of doing good, of bearing one's burden in the household of faith. Because I think if you don't set it from the, we are an organization, we are a people that does this, I don't think it's going to filter down to the extent that the New Testament asks. All right, number 5 is to find the weary and help them. So find the person that's the most burdened in your circle, or maybe the sickest, maybe even the nearest of death, or who's suffering in some way, or who is furthest away in the household of faith. Find them and love them and support them. Sixthly, I would say, is assess your own weariness, because he asks us to bear our burdens and to test your own work. So look at yourself and say, are you weary? Well, maybe it's not weariness in doing good in the church to the household of faith that is making you weary. Maybe it's, work is making me weary, or my commitment to sports or recreation, or just something. 7th is to be encouraged by those who are in the fight and who are serving and loving. All right, so finally, do good to the household of faith. Those are the people that you owe your primary allegiance to in the kingdom of God, is the household of faith. So your primary duty is to serve locally in your household of faith. So if you are serving in the Humane Society or the PTA or coaching a basketball team and not serving in the household of faith, I think Galatians chapter 6 would encourage you to do good to the household of faith first, and then if you're not weary, then you can coach your basketball team. All right. So set your mind to be a net positive. Expose yourself to those who are not weary. Expect weariness in others and yourself, and then finally find the weary and go help them. Thanks for listening. If you're weary, I hope to see you tomorrow.